Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2 o'clock to 2:30 session of the 2022 Open Simulator Community Conference. In this session, I am pleased to introduce the presentation Exoplanet Activity in an Immersive 3D World Planetarium. Now, our virtual Harmony Arts Society is comprised of Andrew Stricker, who's Spinoza Quinnell, sitting next to me, myself, Cynthia Colognge, better known as Lobo, Francisca Yonekura, Frankie Antonelli, and then Drinkwater. A little background for any of you who are new to us. I want to welcome you to the conference, thank our organizers and volunteers and amazing stream team and everyone else. Well, I'm Lobo, and I've taught 57 university classes in virtual worlds. I've mentored 800 13-year-olds for fun. Right? It wasn't my job. I just did it to learn to teach better and to understand how to use these immersive open sim spaces in magical ways, right? And then, of course, this is my 341st conference presentation, but who's counting, right? And of course, I'm painfully shy. The reason I'm able to talk about these subjects is because this world is magic. This software is so moving to me. It provides affordances that we normally wouldn't have. We can create these magical worlds, these great experiences, and collaborate with wonderful colleagues. And so I want to thank everyone, including our core dev team, viewer designers, physics engine creators, Mr. Blue, and others, Ubit, Krista for the hypergrid, Thurza for making the excursions come together. Well, let me introduce my colleague here. Dr. Andrew Stricker is a mastermind and a creative genius. It is rare to work with someone who can design mesh, code in like a dozen different languages, write APIs, write Alexa voice apps, create an experience 1 week later or less that is fully scripted, textured. He also is a creative who paints. So he's an artist and a visionary, but then he writes beautifully. So I just wanted you to know it's so rare to have someone who's an expert at all of these tasks. And so we're very fortunate that he created the Harmony Arts Society, and he runs our servers. He hosts the grid from his farmhouse and invites us in. And he's not just running one grid, he's running over 18 grids, okay? And he optimizes for performance, he tinkers, he follows all of your accomplishments, and it's just amazing how he integrates it all. And so I want to thank him for, for the last 14 years, we have collaborated and made some incredible designs. And we're going to talk about two of them today. We're going to begin with the ExoPlanet, and then we will move into the Matrix game. Both of these designs, you see this map on the wall behind me, on the viewer? We're giving you some locations, but some of them are hidden, so you have to find them, okay? And there are navigational devices that will take you to them, but some are in the basement or the catacombs, so you have to be adventurous. And this is located here on the OSCC grid. It's called the Planetarium region, and if you're looking at the world map, it's in the upper right corner next to the expos and above the landing zones, okay? It does not have OSCC in front of it, and Dr. Stricker, Spinoza, just upgraded it a couple of days ago. So if you've been there before, it's different today. And of course, Frankie Yonekura is the creative genius and muse at University of Central Florida who runs a team of students. She inspires them to greatness, and she gives them so many skills, so much tinkering and exploration and discovery that they wind up getting courted away for wonderful jobs for six-figure incomes or higher as their starting salaries because they excel under her guidance. And so we're so pleased to work with Frankie. Okay, over to you, Spin. We'll have you get us started.
Okay, thank you for such a wonderful introduction, and as always, I am so excited and honored to be here and participate with the conference. As Lyra has shared, we benefit so much from the wonderful insights and work that the community offers through Open Simulator, and it's deeply appreciated. You have the first slide showing the Planetarium region, and last year we offered this as in honor of Dr. Barbara Truman, a very close friend and colleague, and she inspired us with her Parisian stories over the years. And so we thought it was really a fun thing to do, to put some of our work into this thematic environment to highlight some of the attractions in Paris. And so that's why we've embedded it this way. If you want to go to the next slide, Lear, I can. So, Lear invited everyone to, if you have the opportunity to go out to the region here, and this is, you'll see this map, it's available there so you can explore, and she highlights, there's lots of little activities that you can do, and they're sort of like Easter eggs. So as you go and you look in different areas of the region, you'll find things that will probably keep you involved and engaged. And one area that we're going to highlight today is the planetarium. And this is in what we call the terrazzo level that's below ground. And so we're going to talk about an activity that we decided to put together that emphasizes the competition that the International Astronomical Union has put on. If you want to go to the next slide, Lear, that'd be great. So many of you know that the James Webb Space Telescope has really opened up new frontiers for us with the capabilities for infrared astronomy. And one of those areas that it's opened up is to expand our ability to detect exoplanets. And exoplanets are basically a planet that exists outside of our solar system, and it usually has a star associated with it, and it can have more than one exoplanet per system. And I think as of this month, I've been keeping track of the counts of exoplanets that's been discovered, but I think it's around 5,200 and some odd exoplanets. And so that's quite a bit. So you can imagine the importance of trying to put names to them. And so the International Astronomical Union offers a competition to bring groups of people together. Usually they're amateur astronomers, and you're supposed to bring people from the community into some sort of activity. And for this year, they encourage a virtual approach to bring people in and to name some exoplanets that they offered up for naming. And so you have a scientific designation, and then they want more vernacular types of names that could be inspirational in some ways. And so, and we decided that we would build a 3D model of the James Webb Telescope and put that into the space. And when you go to the planetarium region here, you'll be able to see the 3D model, and it's part of the planetarium system too. Next slide, please.
Sure, Andy, and just to let you know, if I ever am slow to move the slides, it's because there's a 20-second delay.
Oh, no problem, no
for our
problem
audience.
whatsoever.
Go right ahead.
So, what's really interesting is, we wanted to create in this naming activity an opportunity for people to learn about, exoplanets and the relevance of the research. And so, we took a lot of things that NASA JPL has accumulated, and NASA JPL has helped us over the years with our efforts and our simulation work. And we worked with NASA JPL in developing the Mars simulation that was used in immersive 3D space that won a national competition. I can't remember how long ago, Lear, that was, but NASA JPL, and also they're still involved in what we do. So if you want to go to the next slide, please. and so one of the things that we highlight in the activity is the relationship of this type of research to the issues that we're dealing with on our own planet. And so one really fascinating linkage between, exoplanet research being conducted through NASA JPL is what it's informing us about climate change issues on our own planet. And so there's a lot of insights that we get from understanding the solar temperature changes around exoplanets and the sort of lifespan, as it were, of these planetary systems, and how it can inform insights about the changes that's taking place in our own solar system. And so we try to illustrate in the STEM area all these various interconnections to current issues that we're facing in our struggles today. And so that's part of almost everything that we do. Next slide, please, Sin. And one of the things that I really thought was fascinating with this competition and the value that it brings is to bring lay people into a direct hands-on effort with this type of science. And so one of the things that we did, we went to our little small town. We live in a rural area, and we have a really small town that has a history with amateur astronomy. And we approached the community, and they helped sponsor our competition. And so I'll come back to that here in a little bit about the ways that led to their participation. But Auburn University is the university that's just right down the road from our farm, and they have been very involved with this little town and its astronomy work over the years. Next slide, please. So when you get into the plaza area where you'll see this terrazzo below ground, we have an introductory kiosk that you can explore. And there's many more now there than what you see in this image, but it's worth checking it out. You can actually see some of the research that NASA JPO has put together on what we've learned from the exoplanet investigations, and then you can get up close to the 3D model of the James Webb Space Telescope, and also in the planetarium itself, you can see it. If you go through the front entrance that you see towards the center into the bigger building there in the background, and you walk straight down that hallway, you'll get to the planetarium. Next slide, please, Sim. So when you go in, it's dark, as you would expect a planetarium to be, and we have these like Jetson chairs you can sit in. But the activities was designed to be active. So when you come in, the control booth, which is above the seating area, has the controls to display the activity, in addition to planetary structures and the James Webb Telescope and so forth, to make it interesting. And so, you can see on this visual here all the different controls that we have. And by the way, when you're over there visiting, go ahead and go up in the control room and press the buttons and have fun. Yeah, it's all good. They you can make them appear and disappear and so forth. Next slide, please.
Well, before we move off of this one, and I know we're short on time because we have the Matrix game yet to cover, but as you look at this, what Andy has done is from last year, he has added several different areas, like on the lower right for the James Webb Telescope, for the upper right for the exoplanet naming activity. Actually, that's the lower right? Those are the red-green buttons you see there. It's pretty simple interface. You hit green for turning it on and red for turning it off. And then, of course, for each of the planets, how you want them to encircle the area, you just click them on or click remove. And nothing harmful happens. It just removes the planet. That's all it does. But it's a lot of fun. There's also a slide presentation area. So this can be used for briefings and for all kinds of discussions. Okay, Andy, over to you.
Great, thank you. So what we do on the instructional level, we have these opportunities to bring up some of the actual visuals that the James Webb Telescope has captured, the images, and you can learn about the contributions that the James Webb Telescope has contributed to exoplanet research. If you want to go to the next slide, please, Lear. I'm getting really good at moving along, don't you think?
Hey, you're doing great. This is awesome.
And so here's an example of when you see these exoplanet systems, these are the scientific designator that the organization has offered up for this year's competition. You click on these orbs and you get an opportunity to put a name in for the planet and for the star. And so, and it all goes to a database, and it's collected, and then we use the reports for determining the nominations that get submitted into the competition. And we're hoping that the organization will continue to use this system for future competitions, since it's a really fun way to make usage of an immersive 3D world experience. And bring people together regardless of what location they're in. So we had community members and people from around the country that can name these in these competitions. Next slide, please.
And stepping in there for just a moment, Andy,
Yes.
You know, the IAU on their form asks that we do not select names of people like John, that we use names that haven't been used before. And that's a little tricky. There's a lot of astronomical bodies out there with names, right? Yes. Fortunately, there's a lot of fun Wikipedia sites that list a lot of the different names. And you'll notice there's a lot of Greek mythology going on, but there's quite a few that haven't been represented. And so we're going to talk about one of them in just a moment. Back to you, Andy.
All right, thank you. And so, when we looked at all the inputs, we decided to submit for the exoplanet system HAT P12, and so the name that was picked was for the star was elected in honor of the small town that has this really rich history with astronomy, and the planet name was Yarrow, and since the town has its original history with Native Americans, we thought yarrow as a healing herbal plant used by the Native Americans. We thought, it was a wonderful way to blend a concept of how we can bring people together and for more of a healing process in our community connections and relationships through science. And eclectic is also known in medical communities because eclectic is a form of medicine that stresses the whole body, whole person treatment. It's back in the early 1800s when the town was formed. It was ahead of its time. Today in modern medical schools, eclectic medicine is actually in the forefront, the holistic approach to how we treat people, with, a quality of life. And so if you want to go to the next slide, please.
I sure will, Andy. And I'd just like to mention for a moment, Eclectic's an amazing little town, and Andy's wife, Algernon Loire, she does a horse therapy program with a miniature horse and her quarter horse Hef, and does all kinds of outreach with the community, writes children's books. Well, she got the town together and helped organize with them a museum or gallery, and they had a parade and they had an event. I wasn't there, so I'm describing this from memory, but and they had over 10,000 people come. That sounds like a lot more than who live in the town, So it was an amazing experience, and we involved that community in our naming project, and of course got quite a few responses, and that's why our submission was eclectic for the star and Yarrow for the exoplanet. But that's 1 out of 5,200. So
Yes.
our work is not done. Back to you, Andy.
And throughout the town, they have these wonderful statues of stars all spread through the town in honor of its astronomical heritage and astronomy. And so they put together this wonderful magazine article about the work of, putting a heritage museum in place that Sen just spoke of, and the connections to STEM science and bringing youth involved into active participation in things like, exoplanet naming competitions. And one of the things that we really like to show, and we have this on display in the museum now, is this, this really fascinating thing about how the elements in the human body were formed in stars. And, when we talk to young people, they're absolutely fascinated with this, this wonderful, wonderful celestial connections that we have, right? Next slide, please.
Okay, so, I'm going to step in here for just a moment, Andy. I'll let you get the last word in.
Great.
But I'm going to let our stream team know that we're about to move into the Matrix game. And we're spot on for time, Andy. Well, this is rocking.
That is
back
wonderful.
To you.
And we can take questions at the end of the second one, too, if something pops up in your thoughts about what we're doing. And always, please feel free to reach out to us. If you go and visit the Planetarium region, and maybe a week or two from now, you want to come back around and talk about some of the things that you've seen with the activity, Lear and I will be more than happy to chat with you. And we have a video that we made that was part of the competition that you're welcome to see on YouTube that sort of outlines a little bit of what took place. So